Exactly. It's in everything. It's
Yeah.
like when he uses that example of someone who's called to preach God, doesn't just say, hey, go preach and leave them hanging. He gives them the gifts, the abilities they need to actually do it. And it's the same for anything else in life. Your career, your relationships, your creativity, whatever God's put on your heart, he's given you a way to make it happen.
Okay, so then how do we actually tap into that ability? How do we know what we're even capable of?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. The speaker starts talking about this sacred secret, and he's practically pulling his hair out that more people aren't talking about it.
Like, come on, people, this shouldn't be a secret.
Right.
So what is it? What's the big reveal?
It's the indwelling of Christ. It's not just God being with us, but in us. Like a constant source of strength and power right there inside of us.
Yeah, and he really drives that point home with those phrases like, in you healing the sick, in you raising the dead. It's like he's speaking right to that potential inside all of us.
And when you really think about how powerful that is, it changes everything.
Right, because if we really believed in that power,
Exactly.
imagine how much bolder we could be, how much more we could accomplish.
We've got this wellspring of power inside us, but we're walking around with thimbles instead of buckets.
That's a good way to put it. We're settling for sips when we could be taking huge gulps.
Right. And he's so adamant that this isn't about ego or anything. It's essential to understanding who we are as Christians. He even jokes about how if Paul was around today, with how bold he was about what he could do through Christ,
Right.
people would probably think he was a little out there.
Which is funny because Paul's like the rock star of the early
Yeah.
church.
Exactly. It just shows how uncomfortable we are with owning our own potential. And then he brings up this idea of unction, or anointing, that supernatural empowering that lets us do things that seem impossible. And he even says, you know all things.
Oh.
He clarifies that it's not just through our own intellect, though, but through that connection with Christ in us.
So it's like a different kind of knowing,
Yeah.
a deeper intuition.
Exactly. Like those times when everything just clicks and you're operating on a whole other level, you have knowledge and insight you didn't even know you had.
Yeah, like you're in the zone or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the question then becomes, if we truly believed in this power, how much bolder could we be? What could we accomplish?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
Because it's easy to talk about it, but how do we actually live it out? We'll
Yeah.
unpack that right after this. So we've established that we have this incredible power within us,
Right.
but how do we actually tap into it?
It's a good question. You know, a lot of people might think, okay, I've got this power, so now I just sit back and let it do its thing.
Right.
But the speaker uses Paul as an example.
Okay.
And Paul was definitely not about sitting around waiting for things to happen. He was very much a get up and go kind of guy.
Right, right.
He talks about how Paul was striving according to God's working. So we're supposed to actively participate in the process.
Okay, so putting in the effort, but knowing we're not doing it alone.
Exactly. Like that saying, pray like it all depends on God, but work like it all depends on you.
It's both.
It is. And the speaker uses this really powerful example to illustrate this. Remember in Acts when Paul gets bitten by that poisonous snake?
Yeah, he just kind of shakes it off.
Right. Like it's nothing.
Was that a Tuesday?
Exactly. And it's not that he was immune to the poison or anything. It's that he had this complete confidence in God's protection.
He knew he was going to be okay.
Yeah, like this inner knowing that God was with him even in that moment of danger.
So he could face it without fear.
Exactly. And that's the kind of boldness we can have when we really tap into this power. It's not that the challenges disappear, but we face them knowing we're not alone in overcoming them.
So it's not about becoming superhuman. It's about partnering with God in a way,
Yeah, using both our God-given ability and our own effort.
working together.
Exactly. And that's such an encouraging message. You know, we don't have to go through life's challenges on our own. We have this strength and wisdom available to us at all times.
We have the divine ability within us just waiting to be unleashed.
We just have to remember it's there.
Yeah.
And then actually live like it's true.
Live from that place of power, knowing that we can handle whatever comes our way because we're not alone.
Exactly. And that's definitely something worth celebrating. So, to our listener out there, what impossible dream would you chase if you truly believed in the power that's within you? What difference in the world could you make if you were really bold?
Until next time, keep searching for that deeper meaning and keep reaching for the extraordinary. We'll see you in the next deep dive.